Hey gamers, Rob from Zborgaming here, and welcome to our weapon guide series where we go through the stats, requirements, attachments, recoil patterns, and more for select weapons in Modern Warfare. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kilo 141. So let's go ahead and get started. So here's our weapon infographic for the Kilo. This is unlocked at weapon level 1. It's one of the first weapons you get as far as assault rifles in the game. Has a max level of 69. We consider this a top tier weapon. It's probably one of the better assault rifles in the game, up there with the M4. So as far as the camo requirements, down in the bottom left hand corner, these are standard across the assault rifle class. You can go ahead and pause the video here if you want to take a look at those. As far as base stats for the Kilo, it's similar to most of the assault rifles with the 42 damage to the head and 28 damage everywhere else. For mag size, there's 30 bullets. It has a pretty fast fire rate at 779 RPMs and ADS speed of 267 milliseconds. So if you take a look at the attachments here, we have them all listed out for all 68 of the attachments with all their unlock levels. Go ahead and pause the screen here if you want to take a look at that in more detail. Or the other thing you can do is head on over to our website, zborgaming.com, where we have all of these infographics available for every single weapon in the game, including all the unlock levels. So if that's something you've been searching for, head on over to our website. We have them all there, and we'll have a link in the description to the weapon infographics. We have a couple of loadout suggestions here, some fun ones with the 100 round drum as well as a balance and an aggressive setup. So if you want to see the details of these two loadouts, you can go ahead and take a look at these. The one balance setup is really more focused on controlling a little bit of the recoil, some movement, keeping some ADS speed. And the aggressive setup is more if you're really looking to essentially hide, run around the map really fast. It has that Singard Arms Whisper barrel, which also gives you the sound suppression. And so this has a lot of ammo, good ADS speed, and you'll pretty high mobility setup. As far as some of the advanced statistics here, the Kilo has a base drop-off range at 30 meters, and then there's a secondary range up to 50, and then anything over 50 meters. So we have the base range damage here. So headshots at anything over 50 meters are going to be 28 damage, and anywhere else will be 18. As far as your movement speed, you're at 93.5%, and your strafe speed's at 47. As far as recoil, we'll get to that here soon. We have a very in-depth recoil study, so stick around and we'll go through that. And again, if you want to take a look at what some of the stats are for the specialized attachments, you can look at that here. The one thing with that 100 round drum to note is that it doesn't have a huge effect on your aim down sight speed, but it really slows your movement speed down. That 8% slower will put you down in the range of the LMGs, so it'll really slow you down quite a bit. So now let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at the idle sway here on the Kilo. You can see it floats around a little bit, but on the whole it's not too bad. So we do all of our recoil testing on KHANDOR hideout right in this location. We back up against this wall here because it's a even 25 meters. So at this range, because the Kilo has a base damage of 0 to 30 meters, you'll be doing 42 to the head and 28 damage anywhere else. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the recoil testing we did. So the two tests on the left is the base recoil with the Kilo. Now if you've watched some of our other weapon guides, you will see that this recoil pattern is very, very good. There is pretty minimal recoil with this weapon, especially compared with a lot of the other weapons in the game. So because the vertical recoil is pretty minimal, we decided to first take a look at the recoil stabilization attachments. And you can see here that really the commando foregrip and the muzzle brake did not appear to affect that side-to-side recoil a whole lot. The patterns don't look much different from the base recoil tests. So with that, we decided to then move on to the recoil control attachments, which are the vertical recoil. So here you can see we've now created 2 additional loadouts. The first loadout took the compensator, the commando foregrip, and the rubberized grip tape and sort of paired them all together. And you can see here that from a side-to-side standpoint, there really wasn't much of a change, but you got about a 40% reduction in your vertical recoil. So our second test we did, you can see the vertical recoil was about the same. However, there is more side to side. And this is the compensator, Merc foregrip, and rubberized grip tape. So one of the interesting things I've found about the Merc foregrip is that because of the hipfire accuracy that it adds, it seems to give you some better recoil stabilization. So even though recoil stabilization is not mentioned in the description of the Merc foregrip, throughout all these recoil tests I've been doing, I find that there does appear to be an effect on your recoil stabilization, that side to side with the Merc foregrip. So that seems to be an added benefit that really is not mentioned anywhere on that attachment. Because you can see here that the comparison between the two, between the Commando and the Merc foregrip, that there is some additional recoil stabilization that happens. So with that, we sort of took all these and said we wanted to look at the bullet spread for the first 6 bullets, because in reality, you only want to shoot about 4 to 6 bullets in a burst as you're firing your weapon. You don't want to hold the trigger down and fire. You'll lose a lot of accuracy that way. And you can see that in doing this, really still your best loadout here was that test number 2. It's also interesting to note that even just the base recoil and maybe adding the muzzle brake gives you a nice pattern here. But again, the last comment I want to make here is that these are really hard to tell exactly where all 6 bullets go, because you can see in this last pattern, out of the 30 bullets, there's only about 15 bullet holes shown. So a lot of these bullets are going into the same holes, and so it's hard to exactly tell when spamming the trigger where exactly all the bullets are going. So as far as our recommended loadout we have here, if you're looking for accuracy and low recoil with the Kilo, I have it listed here. Now the optic, that's your choice. We just used the VLK 3.0 to get a good zoom so that we could be firing in the same location. So the compensator, the Singard Arms 16.6 SOCOM barrel with the Merc foregrip and rubberized grip tape will probably give you your best accuracy with the Kilo. The other nice thing with this loadout is that barrel adds an additional 30% boost to your damage range, meaning that that damage now extends out to about 39 meters instead of just 30. So one of the reasons that, in our opinion, the Kilo is a fan favorite is because it's a very forgiving weapon. So you can see here that this last recoil profile is in full auto, just holding the trigger down for 30 bullets. And almost all these bullets at a range of 25 meters would be hitting a target. So it's very forgiving, and it allows newer players to basically just hold the trigger down and it can still fire right on target. Now again, that's with the right attachments, but it's a very forgiving weapon, and part of why it's one of the top tier weapons in the game because of that recoil. So here we have a little bit of gameplay with this exact setup. Now I joined this game with less than 2 minutes left. I ended up going 9-1. I finished last on our team, but I joined probably 3/4 of the way through this game. You can see the accuracy is very good. Spot on targets. And I had no problem downing player after player after player with this loadout. Again, I finished 9-1, and I think you can see here there's only 52 seconds left in the game, and I think that was my 3rd or 4th kill. So I had really just joined the game and went 9-1 very quickly. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope these recoil tips helped so that you can build a loadout with the Kilo that's really going to shred through the opponents. Again, hey, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications. We have several more weapon guides coming up here in the near future. And so if you want to get notified as to when those come out, go ahead and hit that bell and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching.